welcome to my first ever video. This series is going to be called the Mindful Consumer Grocery Series, and I'm making it to help everybody with their grocery shopping. So I came up with this idea one day when I was eating yogurt, and I thought about how many options we see at the store for yogurt alone, and I thought it would be really helpful for me to walk through my steps on how I decide to buy a product, what those steps are, and give those to you guys so you can start being mindful consumers as well. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when you're picking out a yogurt is think about what you want from the yogurt. When you go to the shelf to get your yogurt, think of 3 to 4 things: calories, fat content, added sugar content, and protein content. Okay, so when you're looking at the nutrition label, you're going to want to look at a few things. The first thing I mentioned was the calories, which you can find at the top. It's going to be the biggest and it's going to be in bold. The next thing, we're going to move down to the first line, which is our total fats. For the total fat, you want to go over here where the daily percent values are, and you want to make sure your fat one is less than 5%, which is going to be about 3.54 grams. And then we go down here under your carbohydrates, and you can find the added sugars. So the added sugars, we want to keep that very low. And our protein content is the third and final thing to check out when you're buying a yogurt. So for the added sugar, the American Heart Association recommends less than 36 grams a day for men and less than 25 grams a day for women. Now the nutrition label is made up by the USDA, and they recommend your daily intake of added sugar be less than 50 grams. So that's a lot higher than the American Heart Association. So just keep that in mind because the label is made by the USDA. So the daily percent value for added sugar will be a little bit different. And I would definitely go with the American Heart Association on this one and keep your added sugar as low as possible. Okay, first I want to start with our regular yogurts. So these are not Greek style yogurts, and this is kind of what we started with before Greek yogurt became really popular. These, as you will see, are just kind of more of a dessert style yogurt. They have a lot more sugar and typically significantly less protein. So if you're using your yogurt as a good source of protein or a snack, you probably want to stay away from these because they're not the best option. So I have 2 here that are regular. I have a Noosa brand and I have Yoplait. So the Yoplait and the Noosa, they're pretty similar, both 150 calories, which isn't too bad. The Yoplait has less fat, so it has 2 grams, and this one has 6 grams, which is more than your daily value. The Yoplait though has 14 grams of added sugar, which is 27% of the USDA's recommended daily intake of 50 grams. And, the protein content on these is 6 grams, so it's okay, but it's not very high, especially with that really high added sugar. So once again, these are going to be more dessert style. I wouldn't really eat this as a good snack or protein component of your meal. So next, I have 6 different types of Greek yogurt. I tried to get mostly Greek yogurts that were found at chain stores like Kroger, Walmart, the most accessible kind. I did get a few that you could find maybe at a different store, but most of them should be able to be found at Kroger. Okay, so first up, I want to start with this style. So I have two types of Greek yogurt that are both 0 added sugars, and the reason for that is because they contain stevia. So keep in mind that if your goal is to have 0 added sugar, and this might be if you're diabetic, so you're really trying to keep your sugar content down, these might end up being your best. Flavor wise, you can taste the stevia, and I don't really like having stevia in my diet, so I try to avoid it. So that would be my reasoning behind not getting these, because their macronutrient content is very good. So the first one is Oikos. This one, and it's called 000. So this one has 100 calories, which is really good. 0 fat and 0 added sugar with 15 grams of protein. So if you're really trying to up your protein and keep everything else low, this might be your best bet. If you don't really care that much about the stevia, it does have a little bit more ingredients as well. I try to keep mine very simple. And price-wise, this is about $1 at most stores. So I did find a comparable one at Kroger, this Kroger blended Greek yogurt. It is exactly the same as the Oikos, but when I taste tested it, it did have a stronger stevia taste. Not much stronger, but a little bit. So once again, 100 calories, same ingredients, 0 fat, 0 added sugar, and 15 grams of protein. So those are the same thing. But the Kroger one is about 70 cents. So the next one, this typically is your most common one, is the Chobani Greek yogurts with fruit on the bottom. So this is a raspberry flavor. I tried to get all similar flavors so things would be the same. This one has 110 calories, 0 fat, 9 grams of added sugar, and 11 grams of protein. So higher added sugar and less protein than the last two that we saw. Taste wise, it's really good, but you can get comparable flavors for better ingredients. Next is the Siggi's brand. So I got raspberry again in this one. With this brand, you'll see this right here, the milk fat content. I always get the 0 milk fat because I try to keep the calories and the fat as low as possible, which is most people's goal. But if you are wanting that to be higher, they have a variance in milk fats. So you can go up to 5%. And also check that when you're at the store, because you want to make sure if you're not trying to get the 3 or 5%, you get the 0. So this one, 110 calories, 0 fat because 0 milk fat. The added sugar, only 6 grams and 15 grams of protein. Now, what I love about this brand is that their ingredients are only exactly what you need to make yogurt. It has the pasteurized milk, the whole raspberries, cane sugar, fruit pectins, and then your active cultures. So no funny business at all. My next one is Faye. I think that's how this is pronounced. They're very similar with the milk fat here. This is 0. They do go up to 5, I think. This particular one, you pour the fruit into it. So it's very similar, 110 calories, 0 fat, has 7 grams of added sugar, and 13 grams of protein. So this one is not quite as good as the Siggi's brand, but better than Chobani. And then when I taste tested it, I didn't really love the taste either. It wasn't very strong. And then my final one is a brand from Trader Joe's. I technically don't think this is Greek yogurt, but the texture is just like it. It's called Skyr. They only have this at Trader Joe's in vanilla that I've seen. So I'll read you macronutrients on this one. It has 2 grams of fat, only 5 grams of added sugar, so this is the least added sugar. It is vanilla, so that could play a part, and 15 grams of protein again. So this one is very comparable to the Seagys one, except it does have some fat in it, which makes the calories 130, a little bit higher. Taste-wise, it's just a very subtle, creamy vanilla bean. It's very good. I like it with fruit or nuts. Trader Joe's does have their own brand of Greek yogurts, which are very, very similar to Chobani, with a lot of added sugar, so I try to stay away from them, just because you really don't want that added sugar. So after taste testing these and giving you the nutrient contents, I wanted to kind of lay out for you which one I think is the best pick and why. So remember, when you're at the store, you want to look at the added sugars, the fat content, and the protein content. So with that in mind, I would definitely pick the Seagys brand to go with. I picked this one first because it has the simple ingredient list. It has a really good taste. It has the most protein at 15 grams, only 6 grams of added sugar, and 0 fat, so really good option. Secondly, I would definitely go with the Oikos. This is because macronutrient wise, so health benefits, definitely the best. It has 0 fat and 0 added sugar and 15 grams of protein. It really has that 0 added sugar because the stevia gives it sweetness. So keep that in mind. If you don't like stevia, go with a small amount of added sugar and all natural ingredients. And that's where I get that from. Okay, so next up I wanted to go over the dairy-free yogurt styles, because a lot of people eat dairy-free. And sometimes you might go to the dairy-free under the false assumption that it's just going to be healthier for you, because it's not. And if you can eat dairy, I would definitely go with the regular Greek yogurt style, because as you'll see when I go over this, it's going to be a lot healthier for you. Way higher protein, lower fat, lower added sugar. So once again, I have 6 different brands of dairy-free yogurt. Most of them can be found at Kroger or a chain store like that. A couple of them I did have to go to like a more health food store like Whole Foods. I actually went to Turnip Truck, which is something here in Tennessee. So to start off, we have the Chobani coconut. This one tasted really good and really creamy because it's made with coconut milk. As far as the nutrients, it has 160 calories, which is way higher than the regular Greek yogurt ones, 9 grams of fat, 8 grams of added sugar, and less than 1 gram of protein. So not really looking like a great option. The next one is the So Delicious Dairy Free. This one's also made with coconut milk. It has 130 calories, so calorie-wise it's on the lower end for the dairy free. It has 4 grams of fat, 15 grams of added sugar, and less than 1 gram of protein. So once again, not looking so great. Next, I have the Seagys brand. This one is also made with the coconut milk. Yes, I got it for half off. Price-wise, the dairy-free ones are also typically more expensive. The Chobani is the same as a regular Chobani, but they're typically at least 50 cents more per container for the same size. Has a really small ingredient list, which is nice. The calories, it has 180, it has 10 grams of fat, which is pretty high. Only 7 grams of added sugar, so that's going to be about the lowest for our dairy-free. and 10 grams of protein, which is the highest protein for our dairy-free options as well. And the taste on this one is really creamy because of the coconut milk. Not a strong raspberry flavor, but it's still really good. I forgot, both of the So Delicious and the Chobani coconut, both flavors were really good, but that's because of the high sugar content. So next up we have the Kite Hill, and this one I don't normally see at Kroger. I had to go to a different store to get it. So it's not very accessible, which is something I take into consideration with my yogurt or any grocery item, is how accessible it is, because I don't want to spend a lot of money or go out of my way or have to go to multiple grocery stores. So this one has 150 calories, 7 grams of fat, so pretty average with our dairy-free, 12 grams of added sugar, pretty high, and 3 grams of protein. So better option, not the best. Taste-wise, this one is made with almond milk, and it is very almondy. I taste more almond than strawberry. It's really creamy, and if you like almond, that's good. It doesn't taste much like strawberry. Next up is this brand. I pronounce it Lava, and this is a mango flavor. So this brand is also one that's not super accessible, and I had to go to a different store to get it. It has 160 calories, 11 grams of fat, which is really pushing our limit, and 0 added sugar, and 2 grams of protein. So this one also doesn't have stevia, which might make you wonder what's it taste like. It doesn't have any sweetener. I do not really like it. It tastes very much like baby food. I did not think it was very good. I'm sure that other people have different opinions on that, but I want to give you my honest opinion. I would rather have a little bit of added sugar and look forward to eating my product than have it have 0 sugar and I don't want to eat it. So I take that into consideration as well with a product. I'd rather have 5 or 6 grams of added sugar and have it taste where I want to eat it and enjoy it than not enjoying it. Our final fully dairy-free one is this Simple Truth, and ingredient and nutrient wise it is very close to the Silk almond milk as well, just a little bit cheaper. So I bought this one to show you guys. It has 190 calories, which is the highest of all our dairy-free ones. 14 grams of fat, very high again. 14 grams of added sugar, and 6 grams of protein. So a lot of fat and a lot of sugar and a lot of calories in this one. Not really very much protein. Kind of similar to our regular yogurt. So the taste of this one as well, like the other almond milk one, was very almondy. I like the coconut milk ones because they have more of a creamy coconut flavor, but they are a little bit lower in protein because of that. So for all of these, my top pick again is going to be the Seekys brand. I picked this one because it has the 10 grams of protein, which is at least 4 grams higher than any of the other dairy-free ones. And the added sugar is very low on this one as well, but it tastes really good. It does have some fat, but not the most of our dairy-free kinds. So it's kind of hard to pick a winner because I didn't really feel like any of them were that great, but this one stood out to me the most. The worst of these I found was the Simple Truth, just really high fat and really high added sugar, also unnecessary, which makes the calories a lot higher. As you can see, the ingredient list is pretty long too. So if you're going to eat a dairy-free one, I would go with the Seekys brand. But if you only eat dairy-free because you have a lactose intolerance or don't digest dairy, There is this style by Chobani that's called Chobani Complete. It's made with milk, but it has what's called lactase in it, which breaks down the lactose so that it doesn't cause irritation in your digestion. And this one is a really good alternative if you just can't digest dairy. It has 120 calories, so lower than any of the dairy-free options. It has 2.5 grams of fat, which is lower than most of them. It has 0 added sugars because it has some stevia in it, and 15 grams of protein. So this is highest protein, lowest sugar, and very little fat in here. So this is definitely, if you just don't eat dairy because you can't digest it, I would go with this one. And you don't really taste the stevia at all, because I don't like stevia, and this one I thought was really good. So try these out. If that's your reasoning behind eating a dairy-free yogurt. They're also really accessible at all grocery stores. And price-wise, they're the same price as regular Chobani yogurt, so typically around $1, $1.25. My final takeaway from this is that when you're looking at yogurts, check out the fat content, the added sugar content, and the protein content. Try to shoot for a protein of at least 12 to 15 grams. Keep your added sugars below 10 if you can, closer to 5. And try to keep your total fat in the product less than 5% of your daily value. And then another big thing, check the calories, which if you have all those points, your calories should be low. And check the ingredient list. Make sure you don't have a bunch of stuff in it, because you really only need a handful of ingredients to make yogurt. So I hope that you found this helpful, and that this will help you be a more mindful consumer when you're shopping. Each week I'm going to put out a video going over different products, and if you have ideas for products that you would like to see and how to pick them out appropriately, let me know. I hope that you found this helpful, and I look forward to hearing